Shalom, Israel. It's the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General YAHANNA. And tonight is the Thursday night scripture breakdown class. I'm Officer Mahagabar, and as usual in the house tonight is Officer Aram, Yahawada, and the sister Nawadaya. And we about to just get it in, man, and get on what's been going on since Thanksgiving, since 4th of July, and everything else that's been going on leading up to Christmas, these holidays. You know what I'm saying? These things that we are not even supposed to be worshiping, and don't even have the real understanding and knowledge on why we're not supposed to be worshiping it or celebrating it. Not even supposed to be, just not even seeking the knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Not even curious to why, you know, you got to put up a tree and all of these traditions that you do. Where does it come from? Where does it stem from? Who started it? Is it really a part of, is Christ's birthday really December 25th? All of these things here. And that's what we're about to get into in this Thursday night scripture breakdown class tonight. You know, the church, the Roman Catholic Church, they equated, you know, Christ's birthday with December 25th. You know what I'm saying? But there is no record that Christ's birthday is December 25th. You know, when you go into the scriptures, clearly you can see that he was not born in the middle of what you would call winter, because you got to remember that when you go into what they call the nativity story, you know, they had shepherds. The shepherds still had their flocks out there. So, I mean, if it's wintertime and it's cold, that's not what shepherds or sheep herders do. You know what I'm saying? They prepare for the winter and they put their sheep in sheep pens and for the winter and take care of them that way. They don't have them scattered out in the field in the middle of cold weather and winter weather, you know, like such as snow and things of that sort, you know. But December 25th is someone's birthday, and it is actually multiple different entities' birthday, all stemming from one. You know, and we're going to get in that tonight. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get into the actual story of Nimrod. It's not that long, but you'll see where it correlates perfectly with these pagan holidays that we worship today, such as Salakia, Christmas, you know, Christmas Eve, you know, even when you celebrating Halloween and all of these things, anything that has to do with the sun, you are still worshiping Nimrod, no matter what name that it's been falling under. And we're going to show some of those things tonight. You know, that Nimrod's spirit is still alive and kicking today. You know what I'm saying? His spirit is still being flourishing throughout this earth, you know. And part of the reason that it's doing that is because blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans won't seek no knowledge. They just they gather after tradition. You know what I'm saying? They keep tradition going, not knowing what it is they really serving. You know, so we're gonna actually get into the story of Nimrod, the birth dates, the winter solstice, Saturnalia, how Saturnalia is still Christmas today. It's just that's just what the Romans called it back then. We call it Christmas today. You know, and get into some of these other things that equates itself and correlates with Christmas, and the show and how it's Nimrod's birthday and not Christ's birthday. You know, the Roman Catholic Church officialized that name, that date with that name when they took our king name, you know, and put it to that date. Although it's not his face, you know, it's Sexual Boger's face, but the name, they attached the name to the date, and it had nothing to do with Christ or Yahweh in the Hebrew. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to get Genesis, the 10th chapter, starting at the 8th verse. If I may. No, you can start at the 7th. Well, sir, you can start at the 8th. That's fine.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 10, verse 7.
Verse 8, sir. You don't have to do the
verse 8. And Cush begot Nimrod.
Begat who?
Nimrod.
Anyone know who Cush is? You know who Cush is? Go ahead, sir.
Africans.
Right, Cushites. That's the son of Ham, and he is also the father of the Ethiopians, who
Con.
would be ancient Babylonians back in those days. You know what I'm saying? Cush is the father of the Cushites. Nimrod is the son of Cush. You know. All right, keep going.
Con. He began to be a mighty one in the earth.
Right. You know what I'm saying? After the post flood, after the flood, when Ham, Shem, and Japheth went to go repopulate the earth, and they was doing that. There was one that rose up in the land that was mighty. You know what I'm saying? He was a mighty warlord. You know what I'm saying? He went around throughout the land conquering on the upper side, I believe, of the Euphrates River. He went conquering all through. He was the first. Nimrod was the first one to incorporate that new world order, if you would say, because he conquered all the known world at that time, and then some. Keep going.
Con. Verse 9. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord.
Right.
Wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Salakia. Yeah,
Right. You got it.
a mighty hunter before the Lord.
Right. That's talking about in the book of Micah, I believe, where they no, I believe First Chronicles, if I'm not mistaken. No, it's Micah, and I believe the 6th chapter, if I'm not mistaken, the 6th chapter where they reiterate this right here, where they say that he was mighty because he went throughout conquering. He conquered over Syria, which is the land of Nimrod. He conquered a bunch of places, and as you can go out and if you go further down throughout the chapter, because we're going to stop right there, it's just to show you that, what I'm saying, Nimrod was mighty throughout the earth, you know what I'm saying, at this point in time. And he also hated the Most High, you know what I'm saying? Like, he hated the Most High. He was incorporating his own thing at that time, his own, would you say, religion at that time. And that religion was to go against the Lord because, Nimrod, when you get into like Josephus, he has an account of it. When you get into the book of Josephus, he recorded some things about Nimrod. What Nimrod was really hurt about how the Lord brought the flood, and after the flood is the reason why he went on his campaign and then started building the Tower of Babel. You know what I'm saying? Because he was like, well, if the Lord send another flood, they won't be able to. We'll have something that the waters can't reach. And not only that, he wanted to go and try to proclaim himself as being as big as the Most High, like a bunch of people do today. Like for instance, the white man that he has done in a lower level type of thing. You know what I'm saying? He ain't as big as the Most High, but he have you fooled that he is, though, that he is God. You know what I'm saying? And Nimrod was trying to do the same thing. So that's why when we skip down, we're going to go to the 11th chapter, starting at verse 6, and we're going to get into the story of how Nimrod started the campaign with the Tower of Babel, and also who Nimrod is as well, his backstory. 11 and 6. Genesis 11 and 6, sir.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 11, verse 6. And the Lord said, behold, the people is one.
Right. This is when he didn't brought all the people together. You know what I'm saying? And they go ahead.
Con. And they have all one language.
And they under one language. I mean, they all together and they speak in one language. You know what I'm saying? It's not these multiple different languages and dialects that you hear today. You know what I'm saying? Everybody at this time was under one language. They spoke one language. They was under one accord.
And this they begin to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do.
Right. And the Lord said that, you know what I'm saying, that and this they begin to do, and now nothing will restrain from them which they have imagined to do. Meaning, whatever they think it, they gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? Because they can building this tower, and now they all under one accord, and they following after Nimrod, and you know what I'm saying? They are going to do everything against the Most High. You know, they are anti-Christ. You know, I mean, they are against the Most High. You know what I'm saying? Nimrod, his mission is to get everyone to follow him. You know what I'm saying? And believe on him, not the Most High. You know what I mean? And to get them to go against the Lord. And so now that they building this tower, you know what I'm saying? The Lord saying that, man, no matter everything, like if they keep going, anything that they imagine, they gon' act on it. Keep going. And this is what he tell them.
Con, verse 7. Go to, let us go down, and there confound their language.
Right, so the Lord like, look, man, we got to go down there and disrupt that. We got to go down and act on that, because if we leave them alone, then they all are gonna be doing whatever it is they want to do. They ain't gonna they gonna be so disobedient. They gonna do whatever it is that they want to do. So we got to go down and we got to shut their whole project down. Keep going.
That they may not understand one another's speech.
Right, he had to confound them. He had to he had to change their whole speech. You know what I'm saying? To knock them off of they mission that they was on. Keep going.
Verse 8. So the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth.
Right.
And they left off to build the city.
Right.
Therefore is the name of it called Babel.
Right. That's the name of because the Lord confound their speech. And Babel also means in the Hebrew to rebel. And that's what Nimrod did. He rebelled against the Most High. You know what I'm saying? He was seeking vengeance, you know, because the Lord sent the flood and killed all his forefathers and everything like that. So, that's why you get, therefore it was the Salakia. Therefore is the name of it called Babel. Keep going, sir, if you don't mind.
Con. Because the Lord did there confound the language of all the earth.
Right.
And from thence did the Lord scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth.
So the Lord had to come in and shut that down. You know what I'm saying? Because if he would have let it just be, then, you know, there'll be, ain't no telling what the outcome of that would have been. It would have been so chaotic, and everybody would have been, Nimrod would have greatly succeeded. And you know what I'm saying? It's not really much in the scriptures about Nimrod. It's a couple other scriptures that, you know, that speak about Nimrod or his son Tammuz. And his son, depending on the source, they'll say that, you know, Tammuz is really Nimrod reincarnated. You know what I'm saying? But I got this article about Nimrod. It's called the Nimrod tree, and what it's about is really just talking about his wife. If you know anything about Nimrod, okay, he became the first king of Babylon. You know what I'm saying? He was the first ruler, and he ruled everywhere. You know what I'm saying? He had every land. He had the whole Shinar area. He had it all under control. It was all under his control, even unto Assyria at that time, which was called the land of Nimrod, because he got it through conquering. Because once again, he became a mighty, mighty, mighty man in the earth. You know what I'm saying? He became real powerful. He was on warlord status. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't specify how Nimrod actually died. You know, some texts say Esau killed Nimrod. Some say that he died natural causes. It's just so many different ones, but it doesn't really specify how he actually died. But the one thing we do know is that he did die, and this is where this ties into Christmas as well, because when you start paying, so once Nimrod has died, now you got to pay attention to his wife, who was also his mother. And I got this article. Go ahead.
Use the mic.
So, like, yeah, sir, you said his mother was his wife?
His mother was his wife. I mean that's um but when you're dealing with African culture, that's incest is common amongst them. But correct, Nimrod did marry his mother, and his mother was queen slash his wife. Correct. Yeah, he was full of incest. He was an evil bastard. You know what I'm saying? Definitely. And so he married his wife, and we're gonna actually get like a little backdrop on that. And I got this article. It's called that my Ottawa officer Rom gonna read. It's called the Nimrod Tree. You can go ahead and take it, sir.
You want me to read that caption that's under the picture too?
Uh, come on. So you can read that if you want.
All right, this is the Nimrod tree article. On each anniversary of his birth, which is December 25th, Nimrod would visit the evergreen tree and leave gifts upon it.
You see, like they would leave gifts upon it. Matter of fact, I don't have to bring that out just yet because it's gonna actually go into it. Salakia, sir.
All right, The Plain Truth About Christmas by David J. Stewart. The Nimrod tree. Nimrod, the Lord of Christmas.
Right,
Nimrod started the great organized worldly apostasy from God that has dominated this world until now.
right. And like I said earlier, his spirit is so alive still in this earth today. You know what I'm saying? And you getting ready to uh, resurrect his spirit on December 25th. You know, some of y'all already got them Christmas trees up and ready. You
Right.
know what I'm saying, sir?
That's all right.
Right. Some of y'all already got them Christmas trees up and ready. Been having them up way since the beginning of the month. December 1st, that's when y'all Christmas trees went up. The only thing y'all ain't did now is put presents up under there. Well, y'all might have been and done that now because it's almost time. You know what I mean. But the point is that y'all giving him life all over again. Every year you give Nimrod life through this evergreen tree and everything and bearing gifts and all the tradition that you gonna be doing on the 25th of December. You are not celebrating nothing that has to do with Christ. You are celebrating the birth and resurrection of Nimrod. Keep going, sir. Salakia.
Nimrod married his own mother.
He did what?
Married his own mother, whose name was Semiramis. After Nimrod's death, his so-called mother wife, Semiramis, propagated the evil doctrine of the survival of Nimrod as a spirit being.
Right. So what she trying to do? Let me see. Right. So what she trying to do after Nimrod died? She trying to keep power now. You know what I'm saying? Because uh, Nimrod has passed, so she's trying to keep power, and also um, she's trying to keep power. So she tells the people that Nimrod's spirit is alive. That the spirit, that his spirit when he died, it went into the evergreen tree. You know what I'm saying? And she was fooling the people that way, but her whole ploy was just to keep her power. She didn't want to lose her power. Keep going, sir.
Khan. She claimed a full-grown ever tree sprang overnight from a dead tree stump,
Right.
which symbolized the springing forth unto new life of the dead Nimrod. On each anniversary of his birth, she claimed Nimrod would visit the evergreen tree and leave gifts upon it. December 25th was the birthday of Nimrod.
Who
December 25th was the birthday of Nimrod.
was the birthday of Nimrod? You know what I'm saying? Nimrod's birthday was on December 25th. You know what I'm saying? So you mean to tell me that Christ and Nimrod are the same people? And I'm not talking about Cedric Bourget. I'm talking about Yahweh because there is nowhere in the scriptures where it gives an account of Christ's birthday anywhere. You know what I'm saying? So you got to ask yourself, where did that date come from? You know what I'm saying? And not only that, but matter of fact, keep reading, sir. It's gonna get better. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself.
This is the real origin of the Christmas tree.
Right.
Traditionally, a Yule log was burned in the fireplace on Christmas Eve, and during the night, as the log's embers died, there appeared in the room, as if by magic,
Right.
a
It's gonna
Salaki.
stop right there, sir, because
Okay.
that's a different part of the article. You know what I'm saying? But right, but a Yule log, that's something we'll get into a little bit later. You know what I'm saying? But the point is that that after she got into power, she came up with this whole scheme where she's trying to say that Nimrod, uh, when he died, his spirit went into the stump of a tree, and all of a sudden, overnight, boom, an evergreen tree sprouted out of nowhere, and to keep and when you dealing with Hamites, or whatever, they believe in that spooky stuff. You know what I'm saying? So you get to telling a story like that, they gonna believe it. You mean Nimrod came back? It wasn't that hard to fool them because they was already, on that level anyways. So she was doing this whole ploy to keep her power, and also it's in other articles where uh, they also that's where they get the birth of Christ as well. You know what I'm saying? Because in other articles, she claims that like other scholars had claimed that it was said that when Nimrod went into the sun, he impregnated her through the sun rays because she became pregnant with Tammuz. You know what I'm saying? And she was impregnated through the sun rays of Nimrod. Nimrod impregnated her, and that's the same correlation as how they try to say with Christ, like trying to say, or in Egypt with Isis and Horus and all of them. You can go to the next page, sir. The real origin of Christmas.
The real origin of Christmas goes back to ancient Babylon. It is bound up in the organized apostasy with which Satan has gripped and deceived world these many centuries. In Egypt, it was always believed that the son of Iris, Egyptian name for Queen of Heaven,
Who?
Egyptian name for Queen of Heaven,
Right.
was born December 25th. Semiramis also bore the title Queen of Heaven, and she was Nimrod's mother.
And that's why Mary gets that title of Queen of Heaven as well. You know what I'm saying? When you start going down through, see, how you say her name, sir? Semiramis.
Semiramis.
She also take on other names too, like Astarte or Astaroth and all of them. That's where that's where they started getting those names from through different as different cultures started adopting this belief and taking on this tradition and culture. They started, the Greeks and the Romans had those names for Astarte, Astaroth, which trickled down to Mary. That's why That's why the Catholics today they call her the Queen of Heaven because she's Jesus' mother and everything like that. So really when you look at Mary having that title Queen of Heaven, and it's the same as the Egyptian culture. The Isis or Osiris, she has that same that title as well as Nimrod's wife, or slash mother. You know what I'm saying? So that's where you get these outrageous titles from. You know what I'm saying? That's why in here we don't honor Mary at all. Not because she wasn't a good woman or anything like that, but because we don't worship her like the Catholics do. We recognize the fact that she was Christ's mother, but that's all she was. You know what I'm saying? That's it. She is not put up on that pedestal and prayed to like how the Catholics do. They pray to the Virgin Mary. All they doing is praying to the real Queen of Heaven, who is Samaritan. Samaritan?
Semiramis.
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 Right. You know what I'm saying? Nimrod's mother. Like, even to this day, when you praying in that Catholic church, when they pray to Mary, they are really praying to Nimrod's mother. You know what I'm saying? Because she has that same title, and it all is rooted from there. It's just at certain points in time, different cultures adopted it and started calling it something different. You know what I'm saying? Started putting different names for whatever culture it was. They was putting different names on it, but still a Babylonian pagan tradition and custom. It all stems from Babylon. That's why America has that title today, Babylon the Great, because we know the old Babylon was destroyed, but this place is far greater than what Babylon was. Because here you can sin and worship whatever the hell you want to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You can worship and follow anything that you want. Whatever your lust is, you can do it here. That's why she got that title also, the Whore of Babylon. You know what I'm saying? Because Nimrod spirit is still alive and kicking today, even in this society. And you're getting ready to celebrate his birthday on the 25th of December. You know what I'm saying? Which has nothing to do with Christ, you know, or Yahawashi. It was even, matter of fact, it's even said, and it's even starting to come out even more so, that Christ was born somewhere during the springtime, like somewhere probably around the time, and don't quote me on it, but because it's not a factual thing, but different sources trying to say that he was born somewhere around the Feast of Tabernacles time. You know what I'm saying? And that's not in the winter. You know, you keep going, sir.
Kind. Paganism celebrated this famous birthday over most of the known world for centuries before the birth of Christ.
Right.
Another quotation. Christmas as a pagan holiday traces back thousands of years before to a man named Nimrod, founder of ancient pagan Babylon.
Right. These are just different sources, and that where they are all pretty much saying the same thing about Nimrod. You know what I'm saying? Like the truth done came out, man. Thank the Lord for the I.S.U.P.K under Commander General YAHANNA. The truth done came out so much to where they can't hide it. They got no choice but to come out with this information now. You know what I'm saying? Because they can't go back and cover things up like they once could. You know, we got the internet now. We can go and research, you know what I'm saying, and put pieces together and puzzles together and find the answers now. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're dealing with a man of the Lord, you know what I'm saying? He gonna give it to you every time. Keep going, sir.
God. Another source by the Gilead Institute of America. December 25th was highly honored and recognized by Nimrod's supporters. Many centuries later, this pagan custom was Christianized as being the birthday of Christ.
Right, and that's come from the Pope Julius the First. Pope Julius the First is the one that officially tagged Jesus Christ's name, and when I said I'm not talking about our King. You know, they just used his name. I'm not talking about Yahawashi Mashiach. I'm really talking about Cedric Borgel, because that's his face. That's the image that's being pushed throughout the earth. But they just put our King name on it. You know what I'm saying? So Pope Julius the First, he petitioned. He officialized, officially put the name to the date. You know what I'm saying? He the one that started that Jesus Christ's birthday is December 25th. You know what I'm saying? When no one has an account of Christ's birthday. Why? Because he never celebrated it. Right. That's not our tradition. We don't care or nothing about our birthdays. You know what I'm saying? And for what it is today in this earth, it's just a form of idol worship. That's idolizing yourself. That's the one day you can't do no wrong. And also, when you go into the scriptures, whose birthday does it mention in the scriptures? Go ahead, sir. Salaki.
Pharaoh. Herod.
Pharaohs, you know what I'm saying? A heathen. That is not an Israelite custom. That's why you go in here in these scriptures, you don't never see anything that has to do with any Israelite talking about their birthday. It might speak of their birth, or because something happened, something significant happened, and their birth is being spoke about. But as far as the date and time, that they was born, it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? But Nimrod's birthday do matter because now they got you worshiping all sorts of things. You know what I'm saying? Keep going, sir.
Con. Lent, Easter, and Christmas are of Babylonian origin. Easter and Christmas paganism
Right, 'cause
by Edward Stevens.
right when you get into the Easter or Astarte, that's worshiping uh, Astarte, the fertility goddess. You know what I'm saying? It's the I seen a picture of it one time. She got like 12 boobs going down like that. Right. I seen a little pagan statue, a picture of it one time, and she draped up and she got 12 boobs going down, supposed to represent fertility. You know what I mean? So, right. Easter is not a part of our tradition as well either. We celebrate the Passover, which is coming up in April. You know what I'm saying? We don't celebrate Easter. That has nothing to do with the Bible, even though it's in there. Go ahead, sir. Salaki.
Con. The story of Nimrod as it relates to Christmas and Easter by William J. Wolfart. December 25th was celebrated as Nimrod's birthday. Generally, all mankind is fast asleep, dreaming this old Babylonian dream.
That's it, sir.
That's it on that.
That's it on the whole article.
Then you got
Right. These are just a couple of sources.
it says this is one from After Armageddon, chapter 4, by John A. Sarkett. So our Christmas tree and our Yule log have tremendous meaning, but not a Christian meaning. The Yule log is the dead Nimrod, human ruler of ancient Babylon, who was eventually defined as the Son incarnate, and hence a god. The Christmas tree is mystical Tammuz.
Right. Who would be is also the son of some Araras. I'm just gonna say Salmon because I can't say her name right. You know what I'm saying? But Nimrod's wife / mother. You know what I'm saying? Tammuz was her second son. You know, and who they was also trying to say was Nimrod reincarnated.
The slain god come from life again.
Right, and that's it on that, man. We're going to switch it up a little bit. So we're going to go and get Jeremiah, the 10th chapter, you know. And what's heavy about Jeremiah, the 10th chapter, after understanding who Nimrod was and what his wife / mother did in the earth, it just makes Jeremiah, the 10th chapter, when you read what we're about to read, makes so much more sense. And not only that, you know, it's a reason why, you know, why did Jeremiah have to say that? Why did Jeremiah have to say this? You got it, sir?
You want to start at 3 or 10 and 2?
You can start at 3, sir, if you want.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter.
You can start at 2. Just start bringing it up to the 2. Well, now you can start it from the very top, sir. Salaki.
This is book of Jeremiah, chapter 10, verse 1. Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel.
Right.
Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen.
Learn not the way of the heathen. Like, why it makes so much more sense now why Jeremiah would say that. You know what I'm saying? Considering what we just read in these articles and understanding who Nimrod really was before, during, and even after his death. You know what I'm saying? And what movement he was actually trying to push. Trying to get you to turn away from the Most High, rebel against the Most High. And he's still fighting that fight today. You know what I'm saying? It is crazy that, you know, we haven't been able to seek the knowledge enough to even understand that what we worshiping is not what we supposed to be worshiping. Keep going.
And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven.
Right, because that's what the heathen worry about. They worry about UFOs and you know and trying to spend billions and trillions of dollars trying to track the sky, you know what I'm saying, trying to pinpoint where Yahweh and them 200,000 angels gonna come in at, you know. They worry about those things. The Lord said, for you, Israel, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, you ain't got to worry about those things. Don't even pay attention to them.
For the heathen are dismayed at them.
Right. They worry about those things.
Verse 3, for the customs of the people are vain.
Right.
For one cutteth a tree out of the forest.
For one cutteth a tree out of the forest. Keep going.
The work of the hands of the workmen with the axe.
Right, and you know, and that's how you used to do it. That's talking about them evergreen trees, because back in colonial times, or if you actually just lived out there in the country, you know, and lived a country life, 9 times out of 10, you know, you would go and cut your trees. They still do it to this day, you know what I'm saying, just in different parts of America. But now you can go to Walmart and get you a tree. You know, it still has that color, that look of an evergreen, you know, because an evergreen tree doesn't die. It stays the same color all year round. It doesn't die at all. So you can go, if you lived in the country, more than likely you went out into the forest and you cut you down a tree. Or you went to a place where they sold trees that was cut down, you know, that was already cut down and they up for sale. They got little places when you get up into like them states, them cities and states like countryside like Minnesota and Wisconsin up there, they still practice that type of stuff. You know, they'll go out traditionally to the forest with an axe and cut down a tree. But for us in the city, you know what I'm saying, in Houston, Texas, we can just go to Walmart and grab us one. You know, keep going.
Verse 4, they deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not.
Right, that it move not. You know what I'm saying? That is the whole setup. This is Jeremiah giving you and showing you what not to do. You know what I'm saying? That you are not supposed to be celebrating Christmas because it is a heathen custom and it's heathen tradition. Why? Because it's the worship of Nimrod. And it makes so much sense now because, you know, Jeremiah is the beginning of us going into the Babylonian captivity. It doesn't start off, but when you start getting further on into the chapters, that's when we lose Jerusalem there and go into Babylonian captivity. So when you get into the book of Ezekiel and the book of Daniel, we've already been in Babylon, in the Babylonian captivity for 70 to 80, almost 100 years now, by the time they come into the picture. So it makes sense that Jeremiah now would tell you, don't learn the way of the heathen, you know what I'm saying, and then go into the actual performance of cutting down a tree and decking it with gold and silver. Today we call it tinsels and put all types of fake snow and all of that stuff on it, you know what I'm saying? But back then, that's what Jeremiah was telling you. Why he was telling you that? Because they were still doing this practice in Babylon. Even when we started going into in captivity, that was one of the things. They were still worshiping Nimrod even during that time. You understand what I'm saying? All right, we could drop that, and I want to grab another article. You know what I'm saying? Which is going to go into the winter solstice, so we'll know and understand exactly what the winter solstice is and how that correlates with Christmas and all of these different festivities, and where did all of this stuff, like just backtracking to show you where all of this stuff came from and how we are still celebrating these same pagan festivities that they was doing in these other cultures back then. We took it and started adopting it through the ages and just started calling it something else. But we're going to get into the winter solstice. That article right there, Juan.
This is the
Yeah, that equates to Christmas, Salakia.
So what?
I was just saying it's going to just showing how this equates to Christmas and all of that, like these different customs and traditions that they was following even back then, even in ancient times.
All right, this is the winter solstice from history.com. Editors. The winter solstice is the shortest day and the longest night of the year.
Right. What is that? What is that? The winter solstice is the shortest day and longest night of the year. What is that? Go
Was
ahead,
that,
sir.
that's that what daylight savings?
Daylight savings time. That's what they call it today. But the winter solstice is really that season that comes in. Well, we'll get into that. I don't want to get too far ahead. Go ahead, sir. Salaki.
God. In the northern hemisphere, it takes place between December 20th and 23rd, depending on the year. The reverse is true in the southern hemisphere, where it is the shortest day of the year occurs in June. Cultures around the world have long held feasts and celebrated holidays around the winter solstice.
Right. So this goes even from the winter solstice starts. It's a seasonal thing. Like the festivities would be Yule's Day, as we're gonna get into, and also Christmas. Well, Saturnalia, aka Christmas, aka the worship of Nimrod, because that's what Saturnalia is as well. But we'll get into that later on, though. But that's where these festivities come. That was just adopted. That just came up out of Babylon and got adopted by the Greeks and the Romans, and all the way up till current today, present today. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, you can keep going, sir. Salaki.
Come.
And
Fire and light are traditional symbols of celebrations held on the darkest day of the year.
right, and the winter solstice, and where that meets with, I think the winter solstice actually starts with Samhain, which is Halloween, because that's during the time where, what daylight savings time, it just is when the days are short and the nights are long, and when the Celtics, as they worship Samhain and in that festive, and they celebrated them festivities and stuff like that, is when the sun is when day and night is sharing the sky equally. Like if you ever noticed, and I brought that out for Halloween, if you ever noticed, like at certain points of the time, I mean, we live in the city, so we'll see the night sky differently than someone that lives in the country, or someone lives in a place where it's not a lot of lighting. Like it's a lot of light here, so that light gives off a different illumination in the sky. That's why when you're in the country, it seems like the stars are hanging right above the trees. It's so many stars in the night sky. But in the city, you can't see that many stars. So it might give off a different type of illusion looking at the night sky from the city versus looking at it from the country. But back in those days, you didn't have city lights, so they could see the night sky clearly. And the solstice began when the harvest end. When the harvest end, that's where the winter solstice began. You know what I'm saying? So that's like daylight saving time would be when the nights grow long and the days grow short, and the Samhain comes in right before that. When have you ever seen the sun and the moon in the sky at the same time? Have y'all ever, like at any point in time? Never. I have. I know I have. Right. That would be the beginning of the winter solstice and the ending of the Samhain. You know what I'm saying? Festivals, and how they worship that and did that festival, and that would be the end of that harvest actually. You know what I'm saying? And they also believed in the superstition side of it, is that at that point in time where the sun is going on its way down and the moon is out at the same time, they both giving off light still, but when you look on the moon side, it's starting to become more night, and the sun is, as it's going down, it's still giving off its light. But in the sky, it's like half and half. It'd be hard to probably see that in the city, but maybe in a place where it isn't many lights, it'd be something easy to see, because they was able to pinpoint it and see it clearly, so that they can get the harvest ready and to start the festivities and all of those things there. So and that's actually also the winter solstice. The white man is the devil though, because he done changed up the calendar so much to where people think that the New Year is in the middle of winter, in the middle of winter where everything is dead. There's no leaves on the trees, snow and ice and everything is frozen. The salmon done swam upstream. The bears done went in to hibernate, and the foxes, all the animals of the forest are hibernating. You know what I'm saying? That the white man says that's the new year. You know what I'm saying? That's the beginning of the year, when really the beginning of the new year is somewhere around March, April. But through them coming in power and conquering and changing things up, changing up calendar dates, which Julius Caesar and Augustus, he's another Caesar that they named August after of Augustus, Caesar Augustus. They came in adding to the calendar because it wasn't at one point in time 12 months. I think it was only like 10 months, you know. And so when you get into the winter solstice, that's how they use the calendar to know when the winter coming in, when the harvest is in and everything. You know what I'm saying? They use that the winter solstice to see that. They track the sky. They studied the sky on that note. And it doesn't never change either. It's the same way every single year. But we have daylight saving time because some cool dude came up with a concept of like something retarded too. It was like to save on candles and whatever you use to heat the lamps up and stuff like that. And I read it. It was, I can't remember all of it, but it was along those lines. And one dude that actually petitioned daylight saving time and said something about because he wanted to be able to hunt longer. I don't know. I was reading a whole bunch of stuff trying to get this material and stuff together, but a lot of it was retarded. But this is the actual winter solstice. You know what I'm saying? Keep going, sir. Slack you.
God. The winter solstice is the day of the year with the fewest hours of daylight,
Right.
and it marks the start of astronomical winter. After the winter solstice, days start becoming longer and nights shorter as spring approaches.
Right. That's where it changed up. It did it this year, right? Days started getting short, nights started getting longer. After the holidays, come March, like March, somewhere in April, the days gonna start getting back longer again, and the nights is gonna grow shorter, which is the end of the winter solstice. You know what I'm saying? And if I could add, like the superstition that I wanted to bring out about the Samhain is when that happens, when the night sky and it's still day and the sun and the moon is in the sky together and it's giving off their lights. The Celtics believe that was the time where the dead could come back from that realm, from the underworld. They could come out the spiritual realm and come into our realm and get revenge or come back and see dead loved ones. I mean, not dead loved ones. Come back and see their loved ones and stuff like that. Like it was open. The gate was open. They could come into our world once again and, do whatever it is that they do. You know what I mean? Keep going, sir. It's lucky.
God. Humans may have observed the winter solstice as early as Neolithic period,
Right.
the last part of the Stone Age, beginning about 10,200 BC.
Which is not accurate because that's the white man's account. We know the earth ain't 10,000 years old. You know what I'm saying? Keep going. It's lucky.
Neolithic monuments such as Newgrange in Ireland and Maeshowe in Scotland are aligned with sunrise on the winter solstice.
Right.
Some archaeologists have theorized that these tomb-like structures served a religious purpose in which Stone Age people held rituals to capture the sun on the year's shortest day.
Right. It's a lot of sun worshipers in this earth today. You know what I'm saying? And the proof in that is that look at the Catholic Church. Like that every image of Cedric Borgia has that illuminated sun orb around his head. You know what I'm saying? In almost every single picture that you see, he has that. You know what I'm saying? You go into every other culture, it's the same thing. It's the same thing with Egyptology. It's the same thing with the Chinese, and all of them. it's a lot of sun worshipers in this earth today who are still actually worshiping Nimrod. That's why everyone on this earth today celebrates December 25th in their own culture, whatever they may call it. You know what I'm saying? But because we are an extension of the Roman society, America is just the new Rome. You know, we still celebrate Saturnalia that we're gonna get into in the next article, which is just Christmas. That whole festival, that whole holiday, is just the Romans. That's what Romans called Christmas back then, Saturnalia, because they worshiped Saturn, who was a sun god, who was actually Nimrod. You know, keep going. Salakia, sir.
God. Stonehenge, which is oriented toward the winter solstice sunset, may also have been a place of December rituals for Stone Age people.
Right.
Ancient solstice celebrations.
Okay.
Roman holidays. Ancient Romans held several celebrations around the time of the winter solstice. Saturnalia, a holiday in honor of Saturn, the god of agriculture, was a week-long celebration in the days leading up to the winter solstice. Saturnalia was a hedonistic time.
Right, right. That what that means is, you know, that they was engaged in all kind of merry making and lust-filled stuff, drinking, whatever it was, they was getting it on. You know what I'm saying? That's what they was doing back there. Keep going, so it's like you.
God, when food and drink were plentiful and the normal Roman social order was turned upside down. For a week, slaves will become masters. Peasants were in command of the city. Businesses, business and schools were closed so that everyone could join in the fun. Also, around the time of winter solstice, Romans observed Juvenalia, a feast honoring the children of Rome.
Right. So they had all these traditions like how they do now, you know, that like how they had all of these festivals and festivities. They do the same thing for Christmas. You know what I'm saying? You might not be out in the street doing it like how they did it in Rome, but you do take pride in going get them Christmas presents. You know what I'm saying? You do party almost this whole month. You know what I'm saying? And no telling how many parties is going on right now because of Christmas. You know what I'm saying? Keep going, sir. It's like you.
God. In addition, members of the upper class often celebrated the birthday of Mithra
Mithra. Oh, Salaki. Go ahead, sir.
on December 25th.
Go ahead.
Mithra was an ancient Persian god of light.
Right. Another sun god.
It was believed that Mithra, an infant god, was born of a rock. For some Romans, Mithra's birthday was the most sacred day of the year.
The same way that the Christian church glorify and glories in Nimrod's birthday, because we know it's not Christ's birthday, but the way they glory in it and have festive in it, it's the same way they was doing it back in the Roman days. You know what I'm saying? With Mithra, who is also Nimrod. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter which god, what name they assume. Whoever was adopted this tradition and these customs, whether it was Apollo, whether it was Helios or whatever his name is, Percy. I had the list, Salakia, for that. I left it at the house. That's my fault, Salakia. But I had the list of everyone, Perseus, Hercules, all of them. You know what I'm saying? Jupiter, Saturn, all of these different gods who are related to being the sun god. All of their birthdays are on December 25th. You know what I'm saying? So is Cedric Bourges, all the way back. So is Horus. You know what I'm saying? And Kemet, you know, in Egyptology, that's related to the sun. All of it goes back to Nimrod. because when Nimrod supposedly died, he was reincarnated into the sun or something. He became the son or something like that. She was telling them all kind of garbage, and they was believing it.
Right.
Salakia.
Khan. In the later Roman Empire, Mithra blended with Sol Invictus, god of the unconquered sun.
Nimrod again. He assumed many names. You know what I'm saying? Nimrod to this day has many, many, many names. You know what I'm saying? Stemming all the way from Babylon to Greece to Rome to America today. You know what I'm saying? Nimrod has many names, and like I keep saying and keep reiterating, his spirit is still living and alive and well in the hearts and minds of every single person on this earth that celebrates Christmas, that puts that tree up, that put them gifts up underneath that tree. You know what I'm saying? That you are worshiping Nimrod. You are giving him life. Keep going, sir. It's lucky.
Khan. Some theorists believe the early Roman Catholic Church may have chosen the same date for Christmas in order to supplant pagan rituals.
Right. So matter of fact, finish that out, sir. Salakia.
Though many Christian scholars dispute this.
Okay. So what they trying to say is like when Greece and Rome they started adopting these different these pagan these pagan customs, and then once Christianity got a hold to it, you know what I'm saying, they started like trying to blend it. They trying to get the pagans to convert into and start following Christianity. So that's why you got Christmas today, which is Saturnalia, because they was trying to get the actual pagans who was actually worshiping these different gods to start coming into Christianity. Somebody else did that in the earth too. Y'all know who it is? Muhammad, right?
Right.
He did the same thing, right? But so when he was pushing Islam and killing and beheading people, you know what I'm saying, and trying to figure out how to get these people to convert, what did he do? Instead of getting rid of all of because you know Islam, they was worshiping 360 different gods a year, right? Am I correct, sir? Right. They had a god for every day of the week. You know what I'm saying? And to get them to ease over into following him and what you call Islam today, you know what I'm saying? What did he leave behind? What did he let them have that they still got right now? The cobblestone. Right. That's why they got to go up. That's why they got to go and make a pilgrimage and do all of that stuff and walk around it 7 times and kiss it and throw rocks and stuff at it and do all of those things. It's the same thing what the Romans did with these holidays here, with these pagan holidays. They adopted Christianity. Christianity adopted Christmas and New Year's and all of these holidays that we celebrate outside of Thanksgiving, because Thanksgiving is more of them giving thanks for slaughtering the tribe of Gad. But you know, Valentine's Day, all of these holidays, they all come from Rome. They all come from Greece, which all come from Nimrod, Babylon. You know what I'm saying? Keep going, sir. Salaki.
God, Yule. The ancient Norsemen of Scandinavia celebrated Yule from the winter solstice through January.
Right.
In recognition of the return of the sun, fathers and sons would bring home large logs, which became known as Yule logs.
Right. You know, so you know when you go to your people's house or whatever, and they got them logs burning in that fire in that chimney. Right. You know what I'm saying? I ain't grow up with all that. I ain't have a chimney in my house. So, you know, most of us that live in the city, we ain't never had no chimneys. But for those who did, you know what I'm saying, on December 25th, I'm pretty sure you're going to have them Yule logs burning in that fire right now. And in some other sources, too, they still say that's the spirit of Nimrod in them logs. You know what I'm saying? the sun. That's trying to bring in. I ain't gonna get too far ahead of myself, but you know that's what Yuling is. That's what they call Yule tides. You know what I'm saying? You putting them logs in the, you know, that's another custom and another tradition that is pagan that we do here in America to this day, because we do it every year. We go chop that wood and put it in the fire, and you know, and chestnuts roasting over an open fire.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Keep going, say Salaki.
Con. They would set one end of these logs on fire. The other people would feast until the log burned out, which would take as many as 12 days.
That's where you get the 12 days of Christmas. Y'all ever heard of that? The 12 days of Christmas. You know what I'm saying? They even got songs about it, right? On the 12, on the first day, right? But you know how we take it and we add on stuff, so it goes up to like another 12 days, or it goes up as high as you want that song to go. But it started off on the first day of Christmas, you know what I'm saying? All the way up to the 12th day. You know what I'm saying? So when you, I ain't gonna get too far ahead of myself. I want to bring that out a little later, but yeah, that's where you get that from. That's where you get them 12 days of Christmas. That has to do with Yuling, that the Scandinavians, you know what I'm saying, some another pagan or a heathenistic culture, you know what I'm saying, was celebrating as a festival. Keep going, Salaki.
The Norse believed that each spark from the fire represented a new piglet or calf that would be born during the coming year.
Right, so they hoping and praying that, you know, okay, they so superstitious that just from the flames being too hot on the log and it's popping the log and the log expanding and it's popping and it's sparking, they praying, they so superstitious that they think that they hoping that represents them having another good harvest, and you know, with the cattle, with the pigs, you know what I'm saying, that they have that they pigs bear more piglets, that they cows bear more cows, and that they have a good, you know what I'm saying? Right. They hoping and so superstitious that, you know, they think the logs popping is new piglets and cattle coming in, you know, that's gonna come into the earth when it's time to harvest, and after the solstice, when summer and spring come, you know. Keep going. It's like it, sir.
Winter solstice traditions. St. Lucia's Day. This traditional festival of lights in Scandinavia honors St. Lucia, one of the earliest Christian martyrs. It was incorporated with earlier Norse solstice traditions after many Norsemen converted to Christianity around 1000 AD.
Right.
As a symbol of light, Lucia and her feast day blended naturally with solstice traditions such as lighting fires to scare away spirits during the longest, darkest night of the year.
Right. I told you they superstition. You know what I'm saying? They believe, you know, gargoyles and all of that stuff was roaming the earth and stuff because it was a long night or something like that. The nights was long, you know. That's when evil was walking the earth and all of that. Keep going, Salakia, sir.
On St. Lucia's Day, girls in Scandinavia wear white dresses with red sashes and wreaths of candles on their heads, as an homage to the candles Lucia wore on her head to light her way as she visited imprisoned Christians, carrying forbidden food in her arms.
Right, that's where you get them wreaths and stuff like that. Also represents Astarte or Astaroth, the fertility goddess. You know what I'm saying? The wreaths represent the woman's womb. You know, where you get them, like the red, like they said, the red and white sash, where you get them Christmas colors, the green representing, but the green represent the evergreen tree, the red, it's supposed to be on some nasty stuff, it's supposed to be representing the minstrel, you know what I'm saying, and the white supposed to be representing the pureness of it, you know what I mean? So that's where you get them red, white, and green Christmas colors from and everything like that. Salaki,
and Salaki, if I may, go back to when it says they would Salaki, let me go back. That they were Salaki, give me 1 second.
But with the white dresses?
You know what I'm saying, when they was talking about like the festival of lights, You know what I'm saying? That's where you get
Oh, right
when
here,
people
Lucy.
decorating their homes, putting Christmas lights.
Christmas lights.
You
There
know
you
what I'm
go.
saying? And
It's
you know,
like,
your light bill go up to $1,000 that month or the next 2 months because you got your whole house from top to bottom, even your bushes and your trees got lights on them.
right,
You know what I'm saying? And like
right.
in some neighborhoods, you know what I'm saying?
They go all out. It's
They
like,
go the whole neighborhood go all out. You know what I'm saying? They actually have like competitions and parades and stuff to where, you know what I'm saying, like whatever house has the best, presentation, and they done put the nativity scene. Like some people have like the nativity scene of the birth of Christ. Then
right,
you got some of them that'll just go straight Santa Claus and the elves and stuff like that.
right.
And then you got some that'll just do snowman and stuff like that. But what you bringing out is heavy because I like all these are like gods and other traditions of heathens, man.
Right,
You
just
know what
in
I'm saying?
Christmas alone, and then what's the first thing that we used to go do? Hop in the car. We going to look at Christmas lights.
Right,
We
right.
going. We go to. I don't know how many different. Now I did do that though.
Yeah,
A lot of it
of
was
course.
being just a child, and just going with the flow, not knowing. But we did do that. We go hit the block and ride around and go to different neighborhoods and look at all the pretty lights and stuff like that.
Right.
Because our lights wasn't like theirs. I know that, but
Nah,
we had
nah.
ours too, though. But yeah, you know what I'm saying. That's a heavy point that you actually noticed in that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's where them lights come from.
Right.
It's like you, sir.
Dong Z.
Okay. This right here, this part of the article right here is just showing the different cultures that celebrate the same thing. December 25th, they celebrate the same thing. During this winter solstice, every other culture or nation celebrates this the same. This is how much influence that Nimrod has over this earth. Salakia.
Right. The Chinese celebration of the winter solstice, Dongji, which means winter arrives, welcomes the return of longer days and the corresponding increase in positive energy in the year to come. The celebration may have begun as a harvest festival when farmers and fishermen took time off to celebrate with their families. Today, it remains an occasion for families to join together to celebrate the year that has passed and share good wishes for the year to come. The most traditional food for this celebration in southern China is the glutinous rice balls, known as tang yang, often brightly colored and cooked in sweet and savory broth. Northern Chinese enjoy the plain or meat-stuffed dumplings, a
Right.
particularly warming and nourishing food for a midwinter celebration.
Right. So they celebrate it too. They go all out too. You know what I'm saying? The way that you go out all out with them Christmas dinners coming up, the way you're gonna go out all out trying to get these presents, trying to go, work. You got to work overtime times 10 to get these presents. Because if you don't, your woman gonna end up putting you out the house, or something like that. Or you trying to break your back just to try to give your kids something. You don't want to be that daddy that didn't come home with the gifts. I mean, they
Right.
all do it. They all do it.
And so, like, if I may, and what's crazy is how the Chinese was like in Scandinavia they use candles to try to scare away spirits, and the Chinese they use firecrackers
Right.
to scare away spirits, and we
Right.
do both.
Right.
You know,
Same thing. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just all that's. It's the same worship all over, no matter what they call it. Like it, sir.
Toji. In Japan, the winter solstice is less a festival than a traditional practice centered on starting the new year with the health and good luck. It's a particularly sacred time of the year for farmers who welcome the return of a sun that will nurture their crops after the long, cold winter.
Right.
People light bonfires to encourage the sun's return. Huge bonfires burn on Mount Fuji each December 22nd. A widespread practice during the winter solstice is to take warm baths scented with yuzu, a citrus fruit, which is said to ward off cold and foster good health. Many public baths and hot springs throw yuzu in the water during the winter solstice.
Right.
Many Japanese people also eat kabocha squash, known in the United States as Japanese pumpkin, on the solstice, as it is also thought to bring luck.
Just like they do today. They do that at Christmas too. They have that pumpkin pie. They have all that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They do all that just the same here. You know?
Shabi Yalda. Yalda night is an Iranian festival celebrating the longest and darkest night of the year. The celebration springs out of ancient Zoroastrian traditions and customs intended to protect people from evil spirits during the long night.
Right. You just got finished saying that. I mean, without the fireworks and stuff, but it's the same custom.
Right.
It's just different cultures do it a little differently, but it's the same thing. Salakia.
On Shabi Yalda, which translates to night of birth, Iranians all over the world celebrate the triumph of the sun god Mithra over darkness.
Right. Who is Nimrod?
According to tradition, people gather together to protect each other from evil, burn fires to light their way through the darkness, and perform charitable acts. Friends and family join in making wishes, feasting on nuts, pomegranates, and other festive foods, and reading poetry, especially the work of 14th century Persian poet Hafiz.
Nuts, pomegranates, all of that sound like Christmas dishes, right?
Right.
Nothing but Christmas dishes. Salakia.
Some stay awake all night to rejoice the moment when the sun rises, banishing evil and announcing the arrival of goodness.
Right.
Native American traditions.
Now this one, you know, you got to look at it like this. You know what I'm saying? You know, we doing it today. So it didn't even matter. But we know that, you know what I'm saying, the Native American brothers and sisters, the tribe of Gad, you know, didn't start off doing this. And, you know, I'll explain it a little later.
For the Zuni, one of the Native American Pueblo peoples in western New Mexico, the winter solstice signifies the beginning of the new year. It's marked with a ceremonial dance called Shalako. After fasting, prayer, and observing the rising and setting of the sun for several days before the solstice, the Pequin, or sun priest, traditionally announces the exact moment of Itiwana, the rebirth of the sun, with a long, mournful call.
Right.
With that signal, the rejoicing and dancing begin, as 12 Kachina clowns in elaborate masks dance along the shalako themselves, 12-foot high effigies with bird heads, seen as messengers from the gods.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Which is just talking about those different poles. Look with the different faces. They have different faces, and then at the top of it they got the eagles. We can stop that right there because for time, so we can get into the Saturnalia. But you know what I'm saying? One thing I want to say about that when it comes to the tribe of Gad, especially with it bringing up New Mexico, you know, and all it, with New Mexico is that you got to understand we was celebrating when you go into Lost Tribes and Promised Land. We was not doing that. You know what I'm saying? We was not doing that. We didn't start doing that until we actually got conquered. We wasn't doing that before then. That's why, you know what I'm saying, when the dude that did the almost a century study on the tribe of Gad to see who they was, he was saying that these people operate like the 12 like the 10 tribes of Israel. You know what I'm saying? That they had they had not the original Ark of the Covenant, but they had an Ark of the Covenant. You know what I'm saying? The way that they moved and handled themselves and the laws and that they followed was straight out of the Bible. You know what I'm saying? And then also when they bring up New Mexico, you know what I'm saying? They forgot, you know what I'm saying, that the lost lunar stones was found and recovered in Mexico in a cave in Mexico, right? The lost lunar stones with the 10 Commandments on there, right? That was in Mexico. That was in New Mexico. So, you know what I'm saying? we didn't start off worshiping the sons and doing all of that stuff there, but we did once we started getting conquered. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna get into Saturnalia. You know what I'm saying? And this is the Saturnalia is like a Roman custom at a Roman festivals, and it's the exact same thing as what we call Christmas today. It's just in Rome they called it Saturnalia because they actually worship Saturn, who was the sun god, who was also, in essence, Nimrod. So, like, you go ahead and go, sir. So,
This is history.com's article, Saturnalia. Saturnalia, held in mid-December, is an ancient Roman pagan festival honoring the agricultural god Saturn.
right,
Saturnalia celebrations are the source of many of the traditions we now associate with Christmas.
right,
What is Saturnalia? Saturnalia, the most popular holiday on the ancient Roman calendar, derived from older farming-related rituals of midwinter and the winter solstice, especially the practice of offering gifts or sacrifices to the gods during the winter sowing season. A pagan celebration of Saturn, the Roman god of agriculture and time, began as a single day, but by the late Republic, 133 through 131 BC, it had expanded to a week-long festival beginning December 17th on the Julian calendar, which the Romans used at the time. The winter solstice fell on December 25th. How the
Right.
Romans celebrated Saturnalia. During Saturnalia, work and business became to a halt. It's like it came to a halt. Schools and courts of law closed, and the normal social patterns were suspended.
right. What that sound like?
Christmas break.
Christmas break. With right, exactly. Christmas break and they Sabbath.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Everything is shut down. You ain't doing no hard work, no servile work, none of that. Everything. But like you just said, you hit the nail on the head with the hammer, sir. Christmas break.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like you say.
People decorated their homes with wreaths and other greenery and shed their traditional togas in favor of color clothes known as synthesis. Even slaves did not have to work during Saturnalia, but were allowed to participate in the festivities. In some cases, they sat at the head of the table while their masters served them.
Right. They switch roles.
Right.
Like for what? You know what I'm saying? They switch roles and then they go get beat when Christmas over. They gonna get beat for everything they did on Saturnalia on that
Right.
day. You know what I'm saying?
You made me serve you 2 glasses of wine.
Right.
Wow.
Right. You know what I'm saying? They gonna get it. They gonna get that business like for real.
Right. Instead of working, Romans spent Saturnalia gambling, singing, playing music, feasting, socializing, and giving each other gifts. Wax taper candles called Siri were common gifts during Saturnalia to signify light returning after the solstice. On the last day of Saturnalia celebrations, known as the
Sigalaria.
Sigillaria, many Romans gave their friends and loved ones small terracotta figurines
Right.
known as signallaria.
Right, little ornaments and stuff. Like how you get them little ornaments today, you know what I'm saying? You get them little gifts. They really ain't major gifts now. They the little ball with the snow in it, you can turn it upside down, those little ornaments, like when you go back up when you was talking about how they was gambling, singing, playing music, all of that stuff there, what that sound like? They having them a whole lot this year, like well, every year. Like Christmas parties,
Christmas
you know what I'm
party,
saying? Christmas parties, every house having that Christmas party.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Which may have referred back to older celebrations involving human sacrifice. Saturnalia was by far the jolliest Roman holiday. The Roman poet Catullus famously described it as the best of times. So riotous were the festivities that the Roman author Pliny reportedly built a soundproof room so that he could work during the raucous celebrations.
Right, right. He mad. He like, man, they making
Yeah.
all this noise. That's like neighbors, your neighbors next door. You
Right,
turn up, neighbors start getting mad at you.
right. Well, no, it's saying like all the other celebrations, they turn it up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You could skip the temple stuff because that's really it's really just going into the Saturn, the God, how they used to worship inside the temple. That's no different than how they go to church on Christmas Eve. You know what I'm saying? Same thing. But so for times, you know what I'm saying, you just go down to Salaki Serve You May.
Con.
Is Christmas a pagan holiday or not?
Is Christmas a pagan holiday?
Right.
Thanks to the Roman Empire's conquest in Britain and the rest of Europe from the 2nd century BC to the 4th century AD, and their suppression of older seasonal rites practiced by the Celts and other groups,
Right.
today's Western cultures derive many of their traditional celebrations of midwinter from Saturnalia. The Christian holiday of Christmas, especially, owes many of its traditions to the ancient Roman festival, including the time of year Christmas is celebrated. The Bible does not give a date for Yahweh's birth.
Right.
In fact, some theologians have concluded he was probably born in spring, as suggested by references to shepherds and sheep in the nativity story.
Right. So something as plain as that just made so much sense. Like just that fact that they had shepherds in the nativity story. Like you would have shepherds, of course, but that time of year though, you ain't gonna have your flock out in the pastures and in the fields, and it's dead smack winter. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, yeah, that killed that. But like I'm saying, people don't. They want to follow any and everything. Keep going, Salaki.
Con. But by the 4th century AD, Western Christian churches settled on celebrating Christmas on December 25th, which allowed them to incorporate the holiday with Saturnalia and other popular pagan midwinter traditions.
Right, so you got a combination of them. That's where you got and I'm gonna get into the last article, which is wassailing. But you got Yule tides. You got that all because the winter solstice is just the season, but the festivals is the Saturnalia, the Yuling. You know what I'm saying? Wassailing, which is what we're going to get into, Christmas caroling, all of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? All of these different festivals just combined into one thing on one day. You do all that. You know what I mean? You celebrating all of that based on tradition. You know what I'm saying? And this is where it's derived from. You know what I'm saying? The Christian church or Christianity itself adopting all of these different pagan beliefs, putting them in one pot, stirring it up and serving you nothing but garbage. You know what I'm saying? And you fall for it. Salaki, sir.
All right, the source is historycollection.com. Wassailing, the practice of singing carols, both of a religious petition or of celebration, is descended from the pagan practice known as wassailing in some cultures, Yule singing in others, and caroling in yet others. The practice emerged as part of the winter solstice celebration in varying pagan cultures, seemingly spontaneously, including ancient Greece, Georgia, the British Isles, and the Nordic cultures. Wassailing was the gathering of singers who sang songs of petition, either for gifts from the wealthier landowners or the gods for the purpose of receiving a good harvest in the coming year from both the fields and the
Right.
orchards, Salaki, and vineyards.
Right, and that's what you like when you go to the mall and stuff like that, and you see them all in the group, caroling and singing all of these Silent Night and Christmas time is here. And then or you go to the church and you see them in there doing wassailing, you know what I'm saying, singing Christmas carols and all of that, or you go outside, and which I've never really seen that in the urban. I'm not saying we haven't done it, but like how the white folks do it, I ain't never seen it like that before. I ain't ever went outside and just seen a bunch of the neighborhood kids and families just caroling. You know, just standing on the corner or walking and picking a random house to sing at. That ain't never happened on my block. You know what I'm saying? It ain't never happened on my block. I'm just saying. So, it's like it, sir.
Initially, the practice was associated with rowdy behavior, as groups of young men, well fortified by strong beverages, would enter the houses of the wealthy, singing songs demanding gifts.
Right. Can you imagine that? All right, man, we out here singing. We want ours, you know what I'm saying? If
Right.
not, we finna come in. We going in. We finna go in. Just behind singing. I done sung my verse. I need some change now.
Usually more of the same strong beverages.
And they drunk doing it.
Right. And they going to the rich people house, you know what I'm saying? We know y'all got that good scotch back there. You know what I'm saying? We out here drinking E&J and Boone's for 'em, man.
You
We
know
want
what
some
I'm
of
saying? We on
that
that wild
Lagavulin,
Irish
you know what I'm
turkey.
saying? Or that Macallan you got back there.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? We want some of the good stuff.
Right. The songs included the threat of remaining of the The songs included the threat of remaining on the property until the requisite gift was bestowed.
Meaning they ain't going nowhere. We'll be here all night. Man, I don't trust them carolers, man. They
Right.
hey, put them laws in their life or something, man. They come
Right.
and see about your blood, yeah, you know. Don't trust them carolers, man. Cause this how they did it back then. Go ahead, slack it, sir.
Householders who did not comply were subject to reprisals, which included damage to their property, although violence was relatively rare in the northern climes. Wassailing was part of the Nordic Yule festival, where the songs were prescribed by tradition, and many were recorded in the sagas.
Right, so the Nordics was, you know, the Norse people, like, you know, the Vikings and the people that believed in Odin and Thor, and you know what I'm saying. But that's what, like, you was bringing that out earlier today, sir, when you said something about like the days of the month, and you know what I'm saying. When you were
Right.
saying about Janus.
Yeah, come.
Yeah, right. Well, you know, what Thor is Thursday.
Or something
Wednesday
like that.
is Odin Day. You know, the different days of the weeks have different Norse cultures connected to it. You know what I'm saying? Like Monday is Moon Day, Tuesday is Friday is Freya. I know most of them. You know what I'm saying? There's a
Right.
couple of them that I probably don't know. But Friday is Freya. Saturday is Saturday, worship of Saturn. Of course, you know that's where all this come from. Right here. It's like it, sir.
Con. By the Middle Ages, the practice of wassailing was part of the Christmas celebration. Though the pagan songs were in most cases replaced with less religious-oriented songs. The wassail was usually part of the 12th night celebration, and feudal lords and ladies were wassailed with requests for food and drink. The lords responded with gifts, and the practice of wassailing became little more than a form of begging, though one which was accepted as part of the winter solstice and later the Christmas season.
Right.
Wassailing was thus another formerly pagan practice which was absorbed into the Christian celebration of Christmas when it was decided that Christmas was December 25th. Another form of wassailing was a pagan practice during the celebration of winter solstice in which orchards, fields, and vineyards were visited by wassailers. The songs sung in the orchards and fields were to the gods of the earth and harvests, of thanks for the harvest for preceding season, and of petition for harvest of the coming year. By the 16th century in England, the orchard wassail included the leaving of bread at the base of trees or hanging in their branches. And the oldest tree in the orchard, which from pagan times was believed to be the spot where the orchard spirit resided, was given the last of the cider which the men consumed as they moved along the trees.
Right.
Throughout the pagan world, the belief in spirits, both good and evil, prevailed, and the failures of crops and other misfortunes were blamed on evil spirits which came with darkness. The winter solstice was a time when the sun began its return from the coming year, and and encouraged by its presence following the solstice. Evil spirits were believed to be driven off by the singing of songs which evoked the gods, which the singers further fortified by spirits of another nature. Such songs were part of all the winter solstice celebrations of the pagan world, and became part of or the Christian and became part a part of the Christian tradition when the Christmas season was set during the solstice.
Right. So when you get into all of these things that these holidays that we celebrate today, especially when you get up into around Christmas time, all of this is generated and rooted in such deep paganism that you don't even really think about it no more. You just do it for enjoyment, because that's the first thing that you say. Are we either doing it for the kids, or we just having fun, or whatever you say. And then the moment you start catching hell and you wonder why you going through this and you got this ailment happening to you and you can't figure it out, it's because, man, you need to stop pissing the Lord off, man. Stop bringing stop kindling his fire, man. You know what I'm saying? About celebrating Nimrod. And stop celebrating Christmas just because somebody told you to do it, man. You know what I'm saying? That's the only reason why you celebrate Christmas on this day, just like every other day. How you gonna celebrate a day that someone told you to celebrate this? This is what we do on this day, so this is what we gonna do. It doesn't even make sense, you know what I'm saying? And you want to know how to keep money in your pocket? If you ain't got to worry about that, if you would stop celebrating, because you ain't got to worry about going broke. You know what I'm saying? Because it won't even matter to you. You know what I'm saying? You talk about a gift, you know what I'm saying? You could buy your children gifts 365 days out of the year. You don't have to put all your hard-earned money and everything into trying to dominate this day by trying to spend all your hard-earned money on getting gifts and providing such a Christmas. You know what I'm saying? Because someone told you on this day, this is what you're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? It's no different, just like Thanksgiving. Not Thanksgiving, Salakia, like Valentine's Day. Just throw that in there too, because that's coming up here pretty soon too, after Christmas and New Year's. That's another one. Your wife gonna give you all kind of hell. You know what I'm saying? For if you don't go and get her some roses or some candy,
Right.
or she could be a monster to you for 364 days of the year, but on that one day you reward her with flowers. When if you really want to be flowered, you ain't got to do that. You can pay about $150, get 365 roses, and get them a rose a day sent to her job every day.
Right.
That I do that'll shut all her girlfriends and everybody up on. You ain't got to stop following after tradition, man. And
Right.
Salaki, sir, I was looking for my you got the scriptures over there?
Which
'Cause
one?
for the tradition scriptures, sir, because I cannot find. I'm looking for it up here. I had it up here. I cannot find my paper with the scriptures on it, sir.
Let me
Did
see.
I accidentally give it to you?
La.
You don't have it over there, sir?
La.
Well, I done pretty much brought out the scriptures that I wanted to bring out. I did have more, but for time's sake, I know I had them. They not on the bar. Well, we're not gonna worry about it though. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, you know what I'm saying. if we have nothing else, like I said, I was just bringing out, you know what I'm saying? I wanted to get my scriptures, but obviously, you know, Satan is at work, so, you know, I'm not going to worry about it. But, yeah, man, you know, understand what it is that you celebrating when you celebrate these holidays. Stop, you know what I'm saying, break that spell, man. You know what I'm saying? Start seeking knowledge, man. If you watching us, man, and you ain't got in class yet, man, get in class, man. ISUPK.com, man. We got class 7 days a week, man. You know what I'm saying? Out here teaching our people, man, and showing, you know what I'm saying, giving you the knowledge and understanding, man, to come out of this world, man. You know what I'm saying? It had, first of all, like I said, Christmas, you understand Christmas has nothing to do with our king, man. Number one, he didn't celebrate his birthday. It has nothing to do with his birth. You know, it's already been universally said and known that it's pagan worship. Just off of that fact, even if you don't have the knowledge, just off of the fact alone that you calling yourself a good Christian, you know what I'm saying? And you celebrating pagan, and you know you celebrating pagan days. Even if someone just told you, hey, Christmas is a pagan day, you know that's pagan. If you can disregard that, then you should know that the Lord is not going to be with you. Oh, hold on. Can't totally. God, she active. Ooh, that cat, she is active. Salakia, though, but you know what I'm saying? It's time for us to come up out of these holidays and these traditions and quit following things just because. You know what I'm saying? Because that is the reason why we don't have the kingdom yet, you know? Because we want to follow these holidays and worship Nimrod. Because that's exactly what you're doing. It has nothing to do. You might be in church. You might have a cross around your neck. You might be throwing your hands up saying, thank you, Jesus. But it's really, thank you, Lord, for these presents. But really, the Lord is not hearing that, man. And it has nothing to do with the Lord. So with that, I pass the class to Officer Ron, Yahweh. Y'all clap it up, man. Clap it up.
We are the I.S.U.P.K, started out on 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They're here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, a teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry, tithes, which is a commandment, out of the book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 21, and Malachi, chapter 3, verse 8 through 10. Means tenth in the Hebrew, Mayasharah. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory, whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations is Purim, the 14th day and the 15th day of the 12th month, which is Thursday, February 25th, and Friday, February 26th, 2021, out of the book of Esther, chapter 9, verse 20 through 31. If anyone wants to become a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black, boots, shirts, pants, headband, or scarf. And those are the security announcements. We also got one more announcement. Brothers and sisters, Google search the school and request the directions. Also call the Google line. If you have any pictures, you can upload them now. And those concludes all announcements. That being said, margin, please stand. Give a courtesy salute to the brothers and sisters. First to the brothers. Men of Israel, Margin Shabbat, Margin, Barak,
Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shabbarakatah.
Yazamatai, Saw, face the sisters. Men of Israel, Margin Shabbat, Margin, Barak,
Yahweh Shema Atah Bashem Yahweh Shah.
Yazamatai, dismissed.